Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for visiting Rapani Research. We will talk on Stanford Part 3 today. And as you know, that this presentation is on Stanford University book on driving innovation and ideas. And this part is creating an impactful company by Deborah Petersen. According to the author, design the company, not the product. Creating a company that has impact takes more than just hitting on the right product or service for the right market. It requires designing total venture, including the business model, the organization and culture, and the business management systems that will follow it to add value to the overall economy by growing and creating jobs as well as profits, says Charles Holloway, Professor Emeritus at Stanford Business School. Find an innovation business model. You must design your entire company, not just the product. Holloway says, this indicates that the business model, the management organization and the culture, it turns out that if you look at innovations in companies, roughly half of them come in the business model, not in the product or service, he says. There are many examples in which companies sell virtually the same product or service, but whether they succeed largely depends on how they were built. Netflix is an example, he says. As a former Sun Microsystem, which was founded in 1982. When the computer systems company started, there were 27 other companies building the same type of product. But few thrived and scaled the way Sun did. In what was a unique business model at the time, Sun used components from the supply network and allowed others to create products that could be integrated with Sun's workstation, Holloway says. The company was acquired by Oracle Corporation in 2010 for more than $7 billion. Culture does not just happen. David Packard, billhewlett and HP were examples of that early on. They created not only products but a culture that allowed them to continue to deliver the products and create other products. Holloway says, innovative companies have been doing this for a long time. Often people talk about HP culture, the HP way. The HP way didn't invent itself, he says. And as was the case with HP, sometimes the culture changes over time, he says. Creating an impactful company designed the company, not just the product. They created not only products, but a culture that allowed them to continue to deliver the products and create other products. Innovate to compete. For a company to scale and profit over the long haul, both its products and its business model must evolve. Finding ways to sustain innovation in these areas is especially important as a startup transactions to a mid-sized company and eventually a large corporation. In its earlier stages, Sun Microsystems had 15 engineers and HP had 300, Holloway says. They were competing in the same market. How did Sun compete? It developed a strong supply network so it could get the components it needed, he says. Sun focused on suppliers that provided parts, disk drives, and monitors, for example. They didn't focus on designing the entire set of computer products like their competitors did, and they were able to get better technology, he says. attract great people. Part of creating a quality workforce is related to the company culture, but part of it is the way in which you go after the people and offer them salary and other benefits. And innovation can be important here. Holloway says, for example, the Gordonbierschbrewing company needed waiters when it opened its first brew pub in the late 1980s. Typically, waiters are paid minimum wages, but the company wanted to attract employees who felt a sense of ownership of the company and its customers. Holloway says, therefore, in addition to wages, the company offered stock benefits when it hired waiters. This is an innovative business model for a restaurant that allowed them to attract waiters who would help them with the way in which they developed the business. Turning ideas into reality, this part was written by Theresa Johnston. She was a retired freelance writer at Stanford University, California, United States. Balancing criticism and creativity, why you need both for innovation. Creativity and criticism are like the Chinese principles of yin and yang, two complementary forces that interact to form a greater whole. One size does not fit all. A company culture can and often should vary within a single corporation, he says. As Sun Microsystems grew, it eventually spun off its food services as a separate company because the culture that was created for its engineers and technologists was not as applicable as its services workers. So you can have creative ways to multiple cultures in the same organization, Holloway says. Remember the fundamentals. Holloway says his best advice to entrepreneurs is quite basic. Ask questions and say thank you. It turns out that questions can be valuable, not only for the person who asked the question, but for the person to whom the question is asked, because it helps clarify situations, he says. Too often, situations that are not clarified proceed in the wrong direction because not everyone is on the same page. Having gratitude is just as important. I don't think people say thank you enough, Holloway says. Hold on the vision. Designing a new venture is a journey, Holloway says, and it requires a vision that is sustained over time. Sometimes you will need to pivot and make changes along the way. It's important for you to keep the vision even though you are pivoting, he says. Understand it's a journey. Changes will need to be made, but keep the goal in mind. The Stanford University book on driving innovation and ideas, part 4, will follow in the next episode. We are business consultants based in Pakistan. If you need to accelerate your organizational performance and transform your company to meet the upcoming business challenges for a better tomorrow, please contact us for a turnaround. You can find us at rabbaniresearch.net. Trust Rabbani for quality competence. Thank you.